Bill Gates and Warren Buffett should thank American taxpayers for their profitable farmland investments. Okay, Bill Gates is now the largest owner of farmland in the U.S., having made substantial investments in at least 19 states throughout the country. He has apparently followed the advice of another wealthy investor, Warren Buffett, who, in a February 24, 2014 letter to investors, described farmland as an investment that has no downside and potentially substantial upside. There is a simple explanation for this affection of agricultural assets. Since the early 1980s, Congress has consistently succumbed to pressures from farm interest groups to remove as much risk as possible from agricultural enterprises by using taxpayer funds to underwrite crops prices and cash revenues, okay? Which means they are giving the farmers money, okay? Over the years, three trends in farm subsidy programs have emerged. The first and most visible is the expansion of the federal supported crop insurance program, which has grown from less than $200 million in 1981 to over $8 billion in 2021. In 1980, only a few crops were covered by the government's goal and was just to pay for administrative costs. Today, taxpayers pay over 2/3 of the total cost of the insurance programs that protect farmers against drops in prices and yields for hundreds of commodities ranging from organic oranges to GMO soybeans. So we paying for this GMO food. The second trend is the continuation of long-standing programs to protect white farmers. I added white farmers against relatively low revenues because of price declines and lower than average crop yields. The subsidies, which on average cost taxpayers $5 billion a year, are targeted to major Corn Belt crops such as soybeans and wheat. Also included are other commodities such as peanuts, rice, cotton, which are grown in congressionally powerful districts in Georgia, the Carolinas, Texas, Arkansas, Mississippi, and California. The third, more recent trend is a return over the past 4 years to a 1970s practice, annual ad hoc one-off programs justified by political expediency with support from the White House and the Congress. These expenditures were $5.1 billion in 2018 and $14.7 billion in 2019 and over $32 billion in 2020. Of which $29 billion came from COVID relief fund authorized in the CARES Act. An additional $13 billion for farm subsidies was later included in December 2020 stimulus bill. If you are wondering why so many subsidy programs are used to compensate farmers multiple times for the same price drops and other revenue losses, you are not alone. Our research indicates that many owners of large farms, collect taxpayer dollars from all three sources. For many of the farms ranked in the top 10% in terms of sales, recent annual payments exceeded $250,000. Farms with an average or modest sales received much less. I'm going to read that again. Farms with average or modest sales received much less. Black. Their subsidies range from close to zero for small farms. Black. To a few $1,000s for average-sized operations. So what does this all have to do with Bill Gates and Warren Buffett and their love for farmland as an investment? In a financial environment in which real interest rates have been near zero or negative for almost 2 decades, the annual average inflation-adjusted real rate of return in agriculture is over 80% of which consists of land and has been about 5% in the past 30 years. Despite some ups and downs, as this chart shows, it is a very solid investment for an owner who can hold the farmland for the long term. And here's the chart. The overwhelming majority of farm owners can manage that because they have substantial amounts of equity. The sector-wide debt-to-equity ratio has been less than 14% for many years and receives significant revenue from other sources. Thus, for almost all farm owners, and especially the largest 10%, whose net equity averages over $6 million, as Buffett observed, there is little to no risk and lots of potential gain in owning and investing in agricultural land. And let me say this, do you want to buy any fruits or vegetables from the man who is trying to give everybody a jab in the arm? Do you want to buy your fruits and vegetables from that person? Okay. While many agricultural support programs are meant to save the family farm, The largest beneficiary of agricultural subsidies are the richest landowners with the largest farms who, like Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, are scarcely in any need of taxpayer handouts.
One of the first reactions that a lot of folks have when they come to a farm is, a Black person will think of slavery. There's really no way that your ancestors can go through hundreds of years of enslavement and tenant farming and being ripped off their land by racist violence and not have this visceral reaction to the earth because the land really was the scene of the crime. We had these autonomous, beautiful relationships with land before, and that's something we can reclaim and get connected to.
Black farmers have historically been missing from narratives about farm life.
There ain't nobody gonna push me off my land.
From Hollywood films,
if you build it, he will come,
to PSAs in the 2000s.
Farmers were our foundation. They're the ones who made us strong.
But Black farmers have always been here. In spite of the broken promise of 40 acres and a mule, Black farmers made up a sizable 14% of the farming population in the 1920s. Fast forward to the 80s, when they were said to be on the brink of extinction. Then in 2012, the agriculture census showed a rise in Black farmers. But a new food economy investigation earlier this year disputed the increase, saying it reflected changes in methodology, not reality. One thing is certain, there's been a rapid decline in the number of Black farmers over the past century, and there's no shortage of reasons why. Widespread USDA discrimination against Black farmers who needed loans and assistance, as well as Black land taken or lost through force, local corruption, and fractured land titles all played a role. Now, with the case for reparations gaining traction in Congress and among Democratic presidential candidates, the history of Black farmers and land loss is receiving new interest.
Come on, kiddies. Y'all want some to eat?
The family of Ernest Vines, a retired auto mechanic and former farmer, is among the many Black families in the rural South who have lost land.
This house right here, this was my great-granddaddy and his wife. And this is where I was born at. I was born right there. I was born in 1947.
In the early 1900s, the Vines family purchased roughly 50 acres of land.
This deed was made on the 5th day of February, 1906. Oscar Vine was my granddaddy, and they purchased this land from the Dawson, and they purchased it for $750.
They first started losing property in the late 1930s, when a white neighbor claimed 14 acres of their land. Vines' father tried to fight it in court.
This is my father right here, and everybody say he favored me. But I know my father started going back to court in the 30s because of the land had been taken away from him. And so my oldest brother, he would tell me my father would go up to the courthouse and come back with tears in his eyes, saying what people done and how they could do things, how they could do things and get away with it. And he died unhappy with a heart attack. And I believe that's what really put a lot of stress on him.
Over the span of 70 years, both him and his father dealt with land disputes that cost the family half their property.
He went to Holy Hill, and he's not the only one in this area that happened to him. A lot of people ain't here to tell this. People might not think this is not real, but it is real. It was a color code thing. And that's why a lot of Black farmers couldn't make it. And that's why a lot of them left and went to the city, because it was not fair what they were trying to do.
Unable to get a farmer's loan and keep up with court fees, Vines took a step back from farming in the early 1980s. Several years ago, him and his wife found a way to keep the land in use.
We donated to the church, and they're training the young generation how to farm and how to grow different things. I thank God that I fight it, and didn't let my father, and didn't let my mother, didn't let nobody down, didn't let God down. I think I did enough out here, so let some younger generation, young crowd go out there and do what I used to try to do. Yeah.
The average age of American farmers is rising, but some Black farming organizations are seeing a new generation of growers emerge. 26-year-old Kendrick Ransom is one of them. He runs an organic vegetable farm on family land, less than 15 miles from the Vines property.
I don't know many black farmers around here, especially not young farmers. I do have a couple elder farmers that come out to the farm and help me, give me some tips every now and then.
Back in 1925, black farmers in Edgecombe County outnumbered white farmers. But by 2017, the number of black farmers dropped by 99%.
Where y'all at? Ready for breakfast? When people think of a farmer, I believe they think of a poor peasant, someone that's uneducated, just of the land, just likes to get dirty. I don't really think people really grasp the significance of farming and the role of the farmer. What's up? You sleep good? I got into a bunch of trouble when I was younger, and I started driving dump trucks, and I started breeding dogs, and then later on became the agriculture piece. That was more so like an awakening for me, it was more so of a calling. I got a lot of weird reactions. Folks just couldn't wrap their minds around it, and it was just like, farming? This guy wants to be a farmer? You was in the bathroom, baby. What's taking y'all so long? Come on. Yeah, it was very, very challenging times when we first got going out here. Come on, push the wagon, come on. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Didn't really have much to work with, had nothing at all, really. We got hoes, shovels, rakes. So that's pretty much it.
Why you do that?
Because you taking too long.
I got a big dinosaur.
Oh, you did? It's very important that we learn how to survive and learn how to make use for what we got. Instead of just waiting around for grants or somebody to donate me or waiting on a handout, we make it work. I've never thought about taking out a loan. That's just something that I've been taught. My big brother told me stay away from loans. I'm familiar with the issues that black farmers face when they did take out loans and they were unable to pay them back. You lose everything you got, and that's including your farm and your land for your family.
Thank you for this land, thank you for this land, this healing, this healing, this healing land, this healing, this healing, this healing land. Hey, Jaga, good morning. Good morning, honey. I am the granddaughter of Brownie Lee McCullough, who was displaced from her land in Rock Hill, South Carolina as a child of the Great Migration. I am the granddaughter of Samuel Cornelius Smith, who was displaced from his land, fleeing from abuses of government in Haiti, and was fortunate enough to be the first returning generation of the grandchildren to find land again.
Over a decade ago, Leah Penniman and her husband bought 72 acres in rural Grafton to start Soulfire Farm, a community and teaching farm.
While some folks will call it Trump country, this is actually Mohican country. This is Native territory, and it also has a long history being black land as well. Harriet Tubman built her farm not too far from here, as well as the Timbuktu black community and Rap Road black community. So it's not that we don't belong here, but we are definitely reclaiming space after many generations of being forced off of this land.
I want you guys to sign up for these free text alerts because my posts are being suppressed on every form of social media that I am a part of. My posts are being suppressed on Instagram, they're being suppressed on Facebook, and they're being suppressed on YouTube. On Instagram, they are removing followers, they are purging my followers. And with Facebook, they're just, even if you follow me, they just suppress everything. So sign up for these free text alerts. That way, regardless of their efforts to suppress my posts,
you will know because I will personally send you a text message. If you just go to bit.ly/text new post, and it'll take you less than 30 seconds. Just sign up and put your phone number in there, and then I will send you a text when I put up my new news articles for the week. And it'll have a link to the YouTube playlist, the Instagram playlist, and the Facebook playlist. So you can choose whichever social media medium you would like to watch. But this allows me to get around their algorithms, to get around them still suppressing the information from you that have chosen to follow me.